tonight, what I got going on, hopefully the wind isn't too bad. It's blowing a little harder than they called for. There's some gusts through here right now. It is out of the east, northeast, so it's not quite borderline for this stand. It's pretty good. This is the first sit out of this stand on this farm. I've hunted here once this year of the evening. No, I've hunted here twice. I hunted a morning and an evening here. The evening was much better than the morning sit. The cameras have been pretty active the last couple of days, mostly at night, but starting to see some bucks on their feet. We've got Ghost and Spencer, our two original targets here, and then we had another one show up last night that I don't have a name for yet, but looked like a really good 9 with a flyer off of his 2 on his left side. So that's what we're in here looking for. I'm set up on a fence row on the south side of what is potentially bedding. Occasionally they'll bed in that. I'm not sure that they are yet. There's still quite a bit of corn to the south of us, so I think they're hanging around it a little bit. We'll see. Don't have incredibly high expectations for tonight, but it is October 29th, so it's a good time of year to be in the stand, even if it is 70 degrees. We'll get settled in here, and if anything comes by, I'll show it to you. One way I like to use our tarsal spray is to, once I get up in the stand, to spray it on the downwind side on some leaves or branches. And not that I necessarily expect the deer to come from that direction. If I expect them to come from that way, the majority of the time I wouldn't be sitting here just because of the way the wind is, but it still could happen, and it has happened before on occasion. So I'll get up here and I'll spray some of it on the downwind side, and it's not necessarily going to completely fool the deer, but even though it's an attractant, you can use it somewhat as a cover scent, and I've found that it gives you just enough time to stop that deer. And it must be that they smell a little bit of the human scent and they smell a little bit of the deer scent, and it confuses them a little bit. And if it's a shooter, it might give you just enough time that they'll stop there and have to really kind of put their head up and smell to pick out you before they turn and leave. It'll give you that extra time maybe to get drawn and shoot them, instead of them just hitting your scent, stopping and turning around immediately. So that's just another option for using that tarsal spray. Got about 10 minutes left. It's been a pretty slow night. I got a couple of does out in the cornfield 400 or 500 yards away. No sign of any of our bucks. Those are the only does I've seen. Like I said, been pretty slow. Kind of expected that with the hot weather. So we got some rain moving in this weekend. Maybe that'll help out, bringing a little bit cooler weather in the beginning of next week for that first day of November, and then Halloween day. But then they're calling for it to be back up in the 70s for that, pretty much that whole first week of November. So we'll see what happens. It's still that time of the year you got to be in the woods. Maybe not hunting the best spots necessarily. This is one of our better spots, but still not. I've stayed out of the best spot on this farm still yet. So we'll see how the next few days go. I don't know if I'll get out tomorrow afternoon. I'm gonna try. Just depends on the rain probably. So I may go try a new spot. May go back to the blind and see if we can figure that out. But that's probably gonna do it for tonight, unless something shows up here in the next 5 minutes or so. Back at it again today. Today I'm in the northeast corner of the cabin property. We've got the blind, and then where I did the first vlog of the year from. This spot can be pretty good, especially this time of year. We've got a scrape back behind me that's been pretty hot until the last couple of days, so I'm hoping maybe they'll be back on it. I actually expect them to come from in front of me though. This side of the property is a pretty good valley that comes down from the neighbors and ours, and it runs the whole east side of this property down to the end of it. So I know they use it to walk a lot. I'm curious to see what the camera is not catching on this side. Haven't really had anything mature back here yet. One potential shooter, but again, I'd like to see him on the hoof first. That was several, maybe last week in the middle of the night. So the only decent buck I've had in daylight was a 3.5-year-old using the scrape a few days ago. So I've got a southeast wind, which is blowing back over my left shoulder. And while I expect them to come somewhat from that direction, most of the deer I do expect to come from in front of me, but what will come and maybe potentially work that scrape, I'm giving them a little bit of wind, and we talk about that a lot. And what I mean is, instead of blowing my wind completely away from where the deer are going to be coming from, it's blowing kind of parallel to the trail they're going to be on. So it's just enough where they still feel good about coming from that way, but it's not too much where I'm giving myself up. So this time of year, I feel like it's okay to start doing that. I'm not necessarily playing it 100% safe, but it's not too risky either. I don't think I'm going to get in trouble back here. The problem is they could come from anywhere, but again, it's October 30th, so getting back here and to try it, they should be moving through here this time of year. The only thing that worries me a little bit is I really haven't seen any rubs yet. And not that I like to hunt over those or anything, but generally, if you've got a mature buck in the area, he's going to make several rubs that are going to be visible, especially here. That's generally when I know I have one moved in. So I haven't seen really anything on the camera, not seeing a lot of really fresh sign. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right places, but on the way in and out, I haven't seen any. We'll see. Maybe tonight's the night they show up. I'll just sit in here. It's hot again, but got to be out here this time of year. So we'll see if anything comes by. It's been another slow night, so I got about 10 minutes left of light back in here probably. Got turkeys roosting over my shoulder here. Haven't seen any deer. Again, pretty slow weekend altogether, really. The weather just not real good. You know, if you can get a good cold front this time of year, it can be some really good hunting the day of and the day after, maybe even 2 days after. But we had one come through earlier this week, and it was okay, but it wasn't as dramatic of a drop as we needed, I don't think. And then this warmer weather's kind of killing the daylight movement, so we'll see what the next week brings. Tomorrow's Halloween, so should be still a good day maybe for a movement just based on the time of year, and then obviously it'll be November after that. So looking forward to the next week to 10 days. Should be pretty good. We are supposed to have a cold front coming through the beginning of the following week, so we'll see what that brings, but maybe we can get something down before then. Anyway, if I don't see anything else tonight, that'll do it. Thanks for keeping up. Make sure you subscribe below so you can catch up with anything we got coming out. And then like, comment, whatever. Let us know what you want to see, what you don't want to see. And I'll try to keep bringing these to you this way. Hopefully we'll see something the next time.